Welcome. Tonight, I want to give you a brief overview of our Self-Leadership 101 and what it entails and what you can get out of it and what you're going to need to put into it. It's not some magic formula that's going to work. You'll have to take some ownership. When you take ownership in your life, everything changes. And I want to teach you how to do that. My name is Paul Roberts. I built and sold a massive annuity and life insurance company. Blessed that I was able to sell it. Once I sold it, I walked away from that world, got into real estate, really just kind of looked around and looked at the landscape of real estate, trying to understand what it was all about. And one thing I noticed is that so many people inside of real estate really didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. They didn't understand the metrics they were supposed to be measuring. It quite frankly scared me. I looked around, so I'd ask people, what did you do last week? What were your wins last week? How many people do you talk to? And I would ask just several questions. I'm really good at asking questions. I was shocked, like they didn't know. There was no game plan. There was no strategy. And then I'd be, okay, so what are some of your goals this year? What are some of your dreams this year? What do you want to do? Do you want to go to Rome? Do you want to travel somewhere with you and your family and pay cash for it? What are the things that you want to do? Luckily, most of them would say, well, I want to do this. Okay, well, let's work backwards. What do we have to do to get there? How many people do you think you need to talk to on a weekly basis to get to, 10 appointments, to get 5 contracts, to get to 2 of those to close, to hit those goals and hit those dreams? You can't just treat this as a hobby and go in it blindly. We have to know the numbers. Now, I'm not a numbers guy. I hate numbers. I'm a psychology guy through and through. I love psychology, love everything about psychology, but numbers, not my thing. However, I know that I have to know how many people I need to talk to be successful. I had metrics in my annuity and insurance business. That's why I was successful. I could tell you exactly how many dials you had to make, how many people you needed to talk to in order to make X, Y, Z. So I got in real estate and I started looking around. I started interviewing a lot of people and I started asking them questions. I asked top producers questions. And I said, what are the metrics here? And crazy enough, the top producers didn't even know. So we went over that and I said, okay, so there's so many people we need to talk to in a week. There's so many things we need to do. I asked this question many times. How many income producing activities do you do on a weekly basis? Most people didn't even understand what I was saying when I said income producing activities. Some did understand the terminology income producing activities. And they would say things to me like, well, I went to 2 networking events. I did this. I studied I went to a thing on how to learn about 1031 exchange and just X's and O's, X's and O's. I said, those are not, I'm sorry, my friend, but those are not income producing activities. Income producing activities are simple. How many people did you talk to last week about buying, selling, or investing? Like real conversations. You can't talk to other real estate agents at a networking event and ask them. That's not going to formulate a lead at all. So how many people did you talk to? Did you go out to eat last week? If you did you ask the person that was waiting your table? Did you go buy anything last week at Starbucks or whatever? Did you ask anybody? Do you know of anybody that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in the next 6 months? It's a very fun question to ask. And if you get really, really great at it, you'll be shocked at how many people answer it and thoroughly answer it. So that's one metrics that we have to measure. Another metrics, so how many of those people, say yes? Well, I don't know. We got to figure out your numbers. And then of those that said yes or knew someone, how many appointments did you actually set? How many meetings did you get from those appointments? Because an appointment set is not a meeting. If you set 15 appointments, you aren't going to sit on 15 appointments. You might sit on 8, maybe 9 reschedules, people just, blowing you off, whatever it is. So you sit on, say, 5. You had 5 meetings last week, 5 face-to-face serious conversations. Now we're going down to what is vital and what is important. And then from that, how many contracts are we going to get? How many contracts did you get last week? How many closes did you have? So those are all things we have to measure, but we can have some fun doing it. It's not fun to do those numbers by yourself. You can know those numbers, understand those numbers, but to do them by yourself is not productive at all. And that's when I formulated my self-leadership 101 back when I was in my old business, and I've now formulated here in this business because it works. It's been the first self-leadership program we did that was 90 days. I had 2 people that were in the course in the 90-day program, and they were brand new to real estate. I also had about 6 or 7 who had been doing real estate for a while. And what happened was very surprising. The 2 that were brand new owned it, and they took advantage of it, and they beat everybody else. and they had the least amount of experience. What do I mean by own? Group culture, joining a group, is one of the most powerful things you can do. There's been Harvard studies done on it where they looked at 200 companies and which companies had great group culture and which simply just didn't have any group at all. And it was astounding, 678% increase over a 10-year period of net income, net revenue. Crazy to think about. So what about us as real estate agents? Well, those are companies. Well, we're a company. We're important, you know? And when you join a group and you take ownership of that group and you don't want to let that group down, you will do more. Now, what do I mean by that? We will do more for somebody else than we'll ever do for ourselves. You can argue with me all day long, and I can show you example after example after example. In fact, I'm going to show you one right now. But there's this thing about us as human beings. When we get with a group of people and we say our goals out loud, and let's say our goal is, hey, next week, you know what? I'm going to talk to actual 10 people next week about buying, selling, and investing. It's time for me to stand up and own this thing. I'm going to talk to 10 this week. But you take ownership of that, and you're just not speaking, you're not just saying it. You look around at the group and say, Angie says she wants to talk to 20 and Brandon wants to talk to 15 or whatever the numbers are. But you take those numbers serious. I don't want to let people down. Well, this works, and I'm going to give you an example. I am a recovered alcoholic. I've been recovered for 13 years now, to be 14 years this May. And I read a lot about addiction. I learned a lot about addiction. One of the reasons group programs are so successful is because of what I just said, the ownership. I'm going to give you a real life analogy, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I never knew that. So I don't know if you know of the band, the rock and roll band, Red Hot Chili Peppers. In that band, the lead singer is Anthony Kiedis. Anthony was battling alcoholism. By the way, he sings on stages, and he actually just had done a concert in Mexico City with 108,000 people in the audience. Now think about that for a second. You have 108,000 people in the audience singing all the songs you wrote. You can see them mouthing the lips of knowing all the words and everything. That has to feel great, right? It did not. It did not help him. There was no connection. 108,000 people. It's got to be pretty, like, what? Right? Well, he decided he was going to get sober. It was not an easy road. He was 11 months sober, and he decided he was done. He couldn't take it anymore. Couldn't take the pressure. He said, I'm going back to drinking. I can't take it. He called his handlers, people that take care of all of his stuff, and he said, hey, I'm going to go away for a couple of weeks. I need you to take care of my dog, Buster. And he's backing out of his driveway, and as he's backing out of his driveway, he stops, and he thinks. He says, wait a minute. On Wednesday morning, it's my job, Anthony Kiedis, one of the most successful rock bands of all time, Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's my job. Are you ready for this? To set out the chairs at Alcoholics Anonymous. It was his job to go into a group of people that you and I don't know who they are. They're no-name people. They weren't Hollywood elites or anything like that, but that stopped him. He's 25, 26 years sober right now. That stopped him, that ownership of, you know what? I told this group of people, not my fans, not Hollywood elite people, but I told him I was going to be the one setting up the chairs. So when everybody got there, it'd be done. Now keep in mind, this man just called his handlers. He could pay someone to set out the freaking chairs. Think about that. But he said, no, I'm going to own this thing. Now he's sober. I've seen people be crazy, stupid, successful in business that had no business being in business. Like me, I'm a psychology guy. Be crazy successful because they joined a group where they said their goals out loud to a group of people, and the next following week they didn't want to let it down. It's strange, but it works. So that's the biggest thing that we have of the actual group. But here's what the group multiplies you, and this is the big one, and you need to write this down. It will build your self-worth. It will build your self-image. See, your self-worth dictates your success. I've often said your self-worth is what's in your bank account. Your self-worth is what type of marriage you have. When you look in the mirror and you see yourself, what do you say about you? The most important thing. What do you say about you? When I was building my old company, one of the leaders came up to me. He goes, man, I talked to all your people. And I got to tell you something. Stay with me. I'm not bragging on myself. You'll see here in a second. He said, man, I talked to all your people on your team, all your great people on your team. Man, they really, really love you. And I said, I greatly appreciate that. But it's not that they love me. They fell in love with themselves. So you can't love somebody else. You can't love a business. You can't love the passion of doing something if you don't love yourself. How do you raise your self-worth? Through activity, doing things you say you're going to do, following through on them, joining a community that will help you be consistent. I hate all the social media coaches out there. I'm a life coach. I'm a real estate coach. I'm a this coach. I'm a that coach. And the number one thing you got to do, you got to be consistent. It's like they went and read a book and they realized that consistency is important. Can you please tell people how to be consistent? For the love of God, how are they supposed to be consistent? Quit screaming out one-liners, getting some clicks and selling your stupid program. Oh yeah, by the way, my program, free. I'll tell you why at the end. but it's free. But quit just saying these one-liners just to keep people how do they become consistent? Here's how you become consistent or have consistency in your life. Join a community and be committed to that community. That equals consistency. Your life will radically change. That is our coaching program. It is called Self-Leadership 101 for a reason, because there is Leadership 201. Leadership 201 goes and dives deep into building a business that makes money when you're not working. It dives deep into self-worth. In fact, our first class that we do of a 90-day program, 201 course, is about forgiveness. Yeah, forgiveness. How's that real estate? How's that building a business? It's everything. Absolutely everything. So the program is free. I told you I was going to answer that question. It's free because I've gotten what I need. I sold my company. I'll get 8 figures when it's all said and done. When the company goes public, it's going to be amazing. It's going to radically change my life. I'm sober and I'm successful in business. I don't believe it's accident that I got sober, and I don't believe it's accident that I became successful in business. And because of that, I realized the success was not about me. It was about helping others become crazy, stupid, successful. I am proud of the fact that I've helped over 18 people get sober. I like that. I've helped 3 people quit smoking. I've helped people get off pornography. I've helped people with a lot of crazy addictions. I love it, but I also love the success of teaching you how to be crazy, stupid, successful in business. So it's free. You don't have to be part of my brokerage. Big, however, I think at the end of 12 weeks, you'll want to join. Here's my promise to you. I'm not going to ask you. That is up to you. You will need to come to me and say, hey, you know what? I would like to join your brokerage, but I will not ask you. I will leave you alone. That's the respect I'm going to give you. I think I'm going to add enough value over the next 12 weeks. This community is going to add enough value over the next 12 weeks. You're going to say, you know what? I want to be part of that group. And if you don't, no hard feelings. We will still stay in touch. I will still want to hear about your success. I want to hear about all your victories, all your wins, and how you do it, because that fires me up. That excites me. If you want to know more, you want to get on my calendar, there's a couple of ways. The person that invited would you get back with them and say, hey, I would like to get on Paul's calendar. If you found me off social media, you can go to ican'tquit.ai, ican'tquit.ai, don't do com.ai. In there, it talks about the self-leadership program. It's a landing page. You can read through it and see what you think. And then when it says apply now, click on the apply now. It's not really applying. You're going to my calendar. You're going to get on my calendar and you and I can talk. But if it's somebody else that invited you, please reach out to them and say, hey, I would like to talk to Paul more. I will not stronghold you until you got to join our 12-week program. I'd like to get to know you. One of the greatest authors of all time on leadership and people skills and everything, John Maxwell, said, one of the greatest gifts you'll ever give yourself is taking a genuine interest in another human being. And I would love to take a genuine interest in you, get to know about your family, get to know why you picked real estate. And most importantly, what are your dreams? What's your purpose? What's your why? Why do you want to do this? I have a blast talking about that. Go get yours. I'm definitely getting mine. Thank you for your time tonight. And I hope that you and I get to do this journey together. And I hope I get to meet you soon.